So this is how we deal with our supers that have been emptied from the harvest. We stock them in our workshop for 2 or 3 days, maybe a couple of weeks at the most. And when we've got enough, we prepare an apiary. Now the apiary behind me, I'm fortunate I can actually drive right in here. There's the truck loaded up with the supers, and these are all the hives are ready to receive these wet supers. So what we do is we choose an evening that is let's just say cool and just where the sun's just about to set, because if you try and do this midday, you're on hiding to nothing. But the idea is we just get about 5 or 6 supers on each hive, and you'll see they've got feeders on each hive. These are mostly the standard Nico feeders I use. I like these, they're plastic, they're very portable, very light and really easy to use, and they take a lot of syrup when you want to feed. So today I've come back and I harvested from this apiary 4 days ago. Lifted all the honey off. Today I've come back, I've taken off the clearer boards. If I wanted to make nukes, I could have made nukes today. And I've taken off the clearing boards and put in its place feeders, not because they need feeding, only 2 needed feeding. So that was really good. I've put these feeders on so I can then put these supers on top. And then the supers aren't really any problem to the bees in terms of space. They don't find they've got to heat this huge volume, because the super is like, is away from the hive. The super is partitioned off by the feeder. Now the feeder acts as a heat trap, and it traps most of the heat in. It's warm anyway this time of year, so you can do this anyway. You wouldn't want to do this in the winter and have a huge cavity above the bees. But the feeder keeps the bees in the bottom. It means that they know where their brood nest is. It doesn't mean that the bees will go up into the top of the hive. If, for instance, our ivy flow started and it was really good and started really quickly, there's a good chance that they might put some honey up in there through the feeder. But really, they're not going to do that yet, because the flow's 3 weeks away and it's bone dry. You can see how dry it is. This apiary actually is like dust, and when we had the chestnut flow, it was fantastic, but now it's finished. And the guy who owns it actually has got a really good clearer, and he's come through and cleared around my hives for me, so it's fantastic. So I can get right in with the truck, right where I need to be, and I can also use the stuff he's made as smoker fuel. So I'm going to get a few. This is actually bracken that's been chopped up, and it's perfect smoker fuel. So, getting back to the job in hand, I'm going to put about 6 on top of each hive. I'll leave them there for 2 or 3 weeks. That's more than I need to. They could be done in a week, but I'm still stuck for time. I'm still pulling honey on the other apiaries. That's going to be finished by Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I'm having 2 weeks off because I'm just having a nice break. Can't wait to. But we're nearly there now. We've got some of the last bee escapes went on today. I've got one more big apiary to do. Then there's a few bits here and there, and then we're done. But overall, it's gone really well. It's lovely to have this apiary site where you can drive right in with your truck, and then you haven't got too far to walk with your supers. But that's what we're doing, and that's how we do. So that's what we do. We put 6 on each hive, and you can see, even though I've only got the first lot out, it's already mayhem here. This is the problem you get with robbing. It's almost dark, and I've chosen to come out late evening, but it is actually really warm tonight because it was like 32 degrees today. There's a flash heat up, and the bees are going wild, but they're no danger. They're not really stingy. They're just, I've got my bee suit on, and you just get on and get the job done. I'll be finished in 20 minutes. So on we go. So we're done now. You can see the mayhem you get. There's absolutely no honey on this flatbed of this truck. There's the supers all on. It's what I would call a controlled clean. Now, I'm not going to get into the debate of whether you should store your supers wet or dry. We like to store ours dry. We let the bees clean them out over a few days. It gives the bees a bit of feed, and it gives the bees something to do before the flow starts, you know. And our flow probably will be terrible this year because it's so inherently dry. I mean, we're talking deep dry here now. There's nothing. So we're going to be feeding quite a bit. So putting the feeders on anyway will be good. So you can see how it works. The feeder that's on will actually block the bees moving up. They won't go up. There's no reason for them to move up. They're just going to bring everything down, and in about a week or so's time, when we're ready, we'll come and take the supers off. Then they can go straight outside. They lose their honey smell, and then they can go straight outside. We store them with mice protection, but open in the air, under rain protection. So they're stored in dry storage with just mouse control. In other words, we put a metal queen excluder at the bottom of each stack and one at the top. And that's all we need to do. We don't get any wax moth or anything because there's nothing to attract the wax moth in because it's just dry comb. And also by then it's getting into the autumn. Wax moth really are more prevalent in times like, you know, April, May, June, July, when it's hot and you've got a colony that's collapsed and you've got hot weather. They just go nuts through it. So that's when you try and avoid wax moth and leaving any colony that's unoccupied. But anyway, I hope you enjoy that. It's a little bit of thing of how we deal with getting our supers cleaned. But you can see it is a bit tedious sometimes, and it is one of the jobs we have to do. But hey ho, it's not a bad job. It's not too bad. I've had no stings. The bees are just the worst thing is the brambles on your legs, which I must clear off. Anyway, take care. See you again soon. Bye for now.